Hello guys, welcome all. I'm your host CPA Becom Mohammed. Today, the focus is on advanced financial management, uh, specifically on the indifference level. So for me to illustrate that the indifference level, we need to do, this is a brief question here that was tested on November 2017, question 4, part A. We have been told, two CPA graduates have formed a company to write, market, and distribute textbooks and revision manuals. The company textbooks and revision manuals have already been piloted and the market prospects are good. All that is lacking is adequate finance to continue the project. A small group of private investors interested in financing the new company. Two financing proposals have been evaluated. Financing option 1. This is an all-equity capital structure. 3 million will be raised by selling an ordinary share at 40 per share. The price per share is 40. Option 2, this will involve use of financial leverage. 1 million shilling will be raised by selling corporate bond with an effective interest rate of 14% per annum. The remaining 2 million will be raised by selling ordinary shares at 40 per share. The use of financial leverages is considered to be a permanent part of the farm capital, so no fixed maturity date is needed for the analysis. The corporation tax is appropriate for this analysis, 30% required. Find the operating profit EBIT indifference level associated with the two financing plans. So guys, what you need to know that is that indifference point refers to the to that EBIT level at which the EPS remain the same, irrespective of the debt equity mix. The management is indifferent in choosing any of the alternative financial plan, and this level, all the financial plans are equally desirable. It means they are the same. The EPS are the same for the both financing options. So we normally say that at the point of indifference, EPS 1 is equal to EPS 2. Now, EPS, remember, is earnings per share. EPS is earnings per share, which is equal to the profit after tax. Profit after tax, this is PAT, times the number of ordinary shares. That's how we get the earnings per share. Profit after tax, then divide that with the number of ordinary shares. Whenever you want to get the EPS, you take the profit after tax divided by the number of ordinary shares. But now for us to get the profit after tax, we take the EBIT minus interest into 1 minus T. If we take EBIT, which is the earnings before interest and tax, then we subtract the interest, then multiplied by 1 minus T, we will get the PAT, which is the profit after tax. Then we divide this with the number of ordinary shares. So this is how we get the EPS. So if I start with option 1, remember option 1, there was no interest. There was no debt, so there was no interest. If you remember here, it is all equity capital structure. It was all equity capital structure. So there was no debt here. There was no debt. So we don't have any interest in that question for option 1. So the interest is 0 for option 1. Interest is 0. Tax is 30%. So we did 1 minus 0.3, which becomes 0.7. 1 minus 3 is 0.7. Now, we know that earnings per share is the EBIT minus interest into 1 minus T. EPS is equal to EBIT minus interest into 1 minus T divided by the number of ordinary shares. We already know how to get the EBIT, which is the earnings before interest and tax. Subtract the interest, 1 minus T. Then we divide with the number of ordinary shares. And how would you get the number of ordinary shares? For you to get the number of ordinary shares, you take the amount to be raised. You divide that with the price per share, the price that has been given. for the option 1, we have been given here that they want to raise 3 million shillings. So this is the amount to be raised, 3 million, and the price per share is 40. So for us to get the number of ordinary shares, we take this 3 million, which will be raised, divided by the 40, which is the price per share. Now for us to get the number of ordinary shares, we take 3 million divided by 40, which comes to 75,000. Now we just substitute that EPS is equal to the EBIT minus interest. We don't know EBIT, and we don't have here interest. So it's EBIT minus 0, which is still I. Then multiply that with 0.7, which is the interest, sorry, which is the 1 minus T. 1 minus 0.3 is 0.7, divide that with 75,000. Then you continue. Now this becomes EBIT. If you take 0.7 times EBIT, we just have EBIT 0.7, then divided by 75,000. So this will give you EBIT is equal to 0.7 EBIT divided by 75,000. That is the simplest way we can go with this option 1. We don't know the EBIT, we also don't have the interest. So if we go to option 2, remember option 2, we have been given here, we have been told option 2, this will involve financial leverage. It will involve financial leverage. 1 million shilling will be raised by selling corporate bond. So they want to raise 1 million shilling will be raised by selling corporate bond with an effective interest rate of 14%. The remaining 2 million will be raised from the ordinary shares at 40 per share. Now here we have debt. So we know that option 2, we know here the debt is 1 million. We have been given the interest is 14%. Now interest, for us to get the interest, we take 14% over the 1 million. That will give us 140,000. Then we go for number of ordinary shares, which was to be raised was 2 million divided by the price per share, which is 40. You get 50,000 shares. Now we just apply the same formula whereby you say EPS. Now it is for option 2, which is the EBIT minus the interest into 1 minus T divided by the number of ordinary shares. Now this EPS 2 is equal to the EBIT, which we don't know, minus the interest, which is 140,000, multiplied by 0.7, then divided by 50,000. Remember, this 0.7 is affecting the both sides. That's why we'll have EPS equal to 0.7 EBIT minus 98,000, which is 0.7 times 140, divided with 50,000. Now, we have reached also the simplest form of getting the EPS 2. This is EPS 2. EPS 2. Now, at the point of indifference, we say that EPS 1 is equal to EPS 2. We know that this was our EPS 1 and this EPS 2. Now we cross multiply, whereby we are going to multiply we are going to cross multiply the 2, whereby this side we're going to multiply with 0.7. 0.7, we are going to multiply that with 50,000, and then 0.7 EBIT, we are going to cross multiply. If I show, let me show you guys with an arrow of how we are going to cross multiply. Now this is 0.7. We are going to multiply with that 50,000, and this one also. The same case you're going to do with that. So guys, you're going to cross multiply, whereby you take 0.7 EBIT times 50,000, and then 75,000 into 0.7 EBIT minus 98. So if you continue with that case, we have 0.7 EBIT times 50,000. We equate to 0.7 EBIT minus 98,000. We are going to put this bracket because this 1.5 is going to affect this 1.5,000 is going to affect the two on the numerator. So if you cross multiply, once you have 0.7 EBIT times 50,000, you get that 5,000 EBIT, which is equal to 0.7 EBIT minus 0.7 EBIT minus 98,000 divided. So this remember this 75,000 is going to affect the both side of the bracket. So if you have 75,000 times 0.7, you get 52,500. And 7,500 times 98,000, you get 7,350,000. So we have that 5,000 is equal to my, so from here, we go with light terms. We go, well, we correct the light terms. That 5,000 minus 52,500. Then we say minus 7.3,500. Then that will give us minus 17,500. EBIT is equal to the 7.3. So for us to get the EBIT, now we need to divide with 17,500, 17,500. So the negative will go. Now our EBIT will become 420,000. Then EPS now, you can just use any equation to get the EPS. If you can go with the first one, it was 0.7 EBIT divided by 75,000. So if you take 0.7 multiplied by EBIT, which is 420,000, then divide this with 75,000, you will be able to get the same 3.92. So that's the indifference level. What is, you need to understand that you just equate the equation 1 and equation 2 and you solve it. That's, you need to know that in at EPS we don't have any choice because both the options are same. So this finance decision class, we are going to have more financing decision under advanced FM. That was a brief class. Hoping to see you in the next class. Thank you for joining, and don't forget to subscribe to the channel for you to get whenever I post any video. Thank you.